So, what's up people and welcome to the Mission 85 discussion of Spy Family. So Mission 85 came out a few days ago, and as always I will leave a link to this mission that's currently being shown on the publisher's official website, Manga Plus, for free to the North American audience. So if you're interested, we'll go take a look at it before they pull this mission back. Okay, so Mission 85, let's talk about Mission 85. First of all, I would like to say it was pretty darn incredible. And if you recall, in my discussion for Mission 84 at the very end, I mentioned that this was gonna be an interesting fight for Winston, because if there's something that exceeds the power of Nakama, it is the power of Yandere. But even I didn't expect what happens in Mission 85. And oh my gosh, if you recall, in one of the earlier chapters, Fiona ends up having to go to the mountains to train after she got badly beaten by Yor. Maybe that training was effective here because oh my god, she goes ballistic in this chapter. So if you recall, in the end of Mission 84, we saw a very terrifying scene of Fiona when she finally caught up with Winston Wheeler, who had been in a battle with Agent Twilight. And we saw that in the very end, Wheeler got the upper hand, and he was basically pinning Twilight down and was about to rip his mask off. So that's when we saw the yandere transformation for Fiona. And so now we come into Mission 85, and we actually start the chapter with Yuri. We go back to the scene where Yuri had been knocked out, and we find that his comrades have finally come to his aid, and he finally comes to again. And there are some very comedic moments during that time. And of course, since it's Yuri, the comedic moments always involve Yor, right? No, Yor didn't appear, but Yuri was hoping Yor did appear. And it was pretty funny what we saw. But in any case, we also find out that I think his comrades all know how much of a siscon Yuri is. But in any case, his boss is there. He basically tells Yuri that, Twilight has gotten away after he beat Yuri down, which was even a surprise to his boss because Yuri is a very capable member of his team. But in any case, he tells Yuri to go get some medical treatment, and Yuri's starting to wonder, why did Twilight let him live? What was there a motive for? And so Yuri starts thinking deep about it, which of course is a dangerous thing considering what we know about Yuri and Twilight. But his final thought is, I have no clue why Twilight did that. And so it basically goes on. Now what we also know is that most likely the other members of Yuri's team are now in pursuit of Twilight in the sewers. Although we don't know this completely, it seems that it's that way, which indicates that they may be appearing in a future chapter. But anyway, then we get to the fun stuff, right? We come back to the situation with Fiona, Twilight, and Winston. And Winston has now pinned Twilight and is kind of teasing Fiona to see if she would do something, telling her that if she did, he would basically snap Twilight's neck. And he tells her to lay down her arms. And so she finally does drop her gun in a dramatic fashion, which Winston notices, which makes him wonder why a competent agent would actually put herself in a very difficult position just to save one of the comrades. And he drops a cynical remark that maybe it's because Fiona cares for this particular agent. And at that point, he brings out this long monologue about how the softness and the caring is basically making her weak. And unfortunately, the majority of the people are like that and aren't like him, who is very hardlined and understands that sometimes sacrifices have to be made. And because he stands his position, he will always be strong. And he ends that conversation with saying, "You will never be able to beat me." Which of course does something to Fiona because she completely snaps. And at that point she attacks Winston. Now, Winston, if you remember, is a very capable fighter. So he's looking at this and like, oh my God, here comes one of those freaked out spies. Okay, let me take care of her. But right during the attack, he starts noticing she is coming at breakneck speeds. He did not calculate how fast she was able to close the distance, and so he quickly has to get up in his defensive position. And at that point, he's like, yeah, well, big deal. It's not like she has enough strength to do anything about it. And which point, yeah, we see exactly what that punch results in. And it not only makes Winston fly back due to the sheer impact, but it literally shatters Fiona's arm. And at this point, Winston realizes that he's not fighting against a normal agent. This lady is completely off her rockers. Basically, what's happening is that typically most people have survival instincts, so they don't particularly go completely off. In other words, you don't run so fast to trip yourself over, or you don't punch so hard that the impact will injure your own limbs. But in the case of Fiona, she has completely shut down all her safety inhibitors. And because of that, she not only ends up destroying her body, but it also ends up destroying his as well. So he is basically fighting a ticking time bomb. And it's at this point that you get one of the best burns from Fiona when she says, oh, I guess you're just too weak because you are too worried about hurting yourself. You're too afraid of dying that you can't bring yourself out to the fullest. I guess it's because you have that level of weakness that you won't be able to defeat me. And what a burn she gives. You know, there may have still been some people who were against Fiona because she is the main challenger to Yor with regards to her relationship with Lloyd. But here, I mean, you gotta give credit to this character. She is pretty darn amazing if she wasn't so freaking frightening, right? And with that, she unleashes another attack with her other arm, which Winston dodges, and because of that, she ends up breaking that arm as well. But in the meantime, she spins around and gives a devastating kick that smashes her legs as well as Winston's side. So my God, we're seeing Fiona destroy herself, but in doing so, she ends up also destroying Winston as well. And he's like, what the hell is going on? But he doesn't have time to think because Fiona's already up and he's like, how can she come after me? She already broke one of her legs and she's broken both her arms. But it didn't matter to Fiona, and with her broken arms, she gives one final devastating attack against Winston. And of course that closes the chapter. So we see that Fiona has dominated this fight, but with so doing, she has basically hurt her own body, possibly more than she has hurt Winston. Now, she may have knocked Winston out, and I hope she did knock Winston out, because if she didn't, she's in some terrible trouble. And I got a feeling eventually Twilight will get back up again, because there are the other agents from the Estanian Secret Police coming down in pursuit. So it will be interesting to see how both Twilight and Fiona get out of this. They still have to somehow take Winston into custody. And how can the two of them, being so beat up, get away from this? I mean, Fiona can barely walk after this situation. And she's going to be in the hospital for quite a long time. But in any case, yeah, Fiona has become the second most frightening character in the series next to Yor, right? Yor is probably still the most frightening character, but Fiona is up there because of her sheer insanity. And this has made this chapter so entertaining to watch. And it's going to be amazing when this episode comes out in the anime. But I'm not really sure what's going to happen next. It's all open-ended at this point. And so we'll have to wait for Mission 86 to give us more information. And when that comes out, I'll bring out another video and hope you join me at that time. But this is the Mission 85 discussion for Spy Family. If you read it, what'd you think about it? Did you enjoy this mission as much as I did? Please leave your comments in the comment section below, and thank you very much for doing so. And until the next episode, happy manga reading, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.